If you're keeping up with the latest AI news, I recently stumbled upon a fascinating article. It reveals how Amazon is gearing up to challenge NVIDIA, the very same NVIDIA dominating the AI hardware market. Amazon is making waves in the AI hardware market with the development of a powerful new AI chip. According to the company, this innovation has the potential to disrupt the entire industry. Let me break down exactly what I've been reading and explore what it could mean for the future of computing. What makes this story truly fascinating is not just the ambition behind it, but where Amazon chose to develop one of the most groundbreaking projects in tech. Surprisingly, it's not happening in a sleek, futuristic facility in Silicon Valley. Instead, they're working on a potential competitor to NVIDIA in a location the article describes as unexpected. In the midst of a quiet North Austin neighborhood, filled with unremarkable corporate office towers, you'd expect little to stand out. But the lab, it shatters every expectation. It's nothing like what you'd imagine from the R&D hub of a $2 trillion company. These long workbenches stretch across the room, offering a view of Texas's growing suburbs. What's truly fascinating, though, is how the space is intentionally messy, yet remarkably productive. There are printed circuit boards spread across the workspace, cooling fans positioned for testing, and networking equipment in different stages of assembly. Some of these components are even smeared with thermal paste, the material used to prevent chips from overheating. One of the most revealing aspects of Amazon's approach is how its engineers operate. They think nothing of making a quick trip to Home Depot for a drill press. This isn't a rigid corporate setting where you have to submit multiple requisition forms just to get a basic tool like a screwdriver. These are hands-on, resourceful engineers who do whatever it takes to complete the task. They're even willing to learn entirely new skills beyond their expertise if it helps accelerate the development process. The article highlights a distinct bootstrapping energy in the atmosphere, which feels incredibly surprising given that it's coming from one of the most valuable companies in the world. They've intentionally chosen to preserve the dynamic, innovative spirit of a startup, even while developing technology that could revolutionize the $100 billion AI chip market. This setup reveals a critical aspect of Amazon's approach to innovation. Instead of building an over-engineered, polished development facility, they've embraced a practical, hands-on environment. Here, engineers can move quickly, experiment freely, and iterate rapidly, almost as if they're channeling the energy of those early startup days. Amazon Garage, a throwback to the startup energy of the 1990s. But now, this technology is being applied to some of the most advanced systems in the world. What makes it even more fascinating is that this utilitarian approach isn't just for show, it's delivering real results. Their first two generations of AI chips are already in use, and they're racing to deploy their third generation, Trainium 2, into data centers by the end of the year. This is a perfect example of how groundbreaking innovations often emerge, not from the most polished environments, but from places where engineers have the freedom to experiment, fail, and iterate quickly. As I read through this Bloomberg article, the technical details are truly mind-blowing. So what are we really looking at with Trainium 2? Amazon claims it offers 4 times the performance of its predecessor, and that's not all. They've also packed in 3 times more memory. Here's where it gets really exciting. They're planning to connect up to 100,000 of these chips. Imagine the sheer computing power that would unleash. These chips are already being shipped to data centers in Ohio, with plans for a much wider rollout on the horizon. Now, let's dive into how they've completely reimagined the design. If you look at the first version of Trainium, it was like a complicated puzzle, with 8 chips crammed into a deep steel box. But with Trainium 2, they've simplified things significantly, just 2 chips per box. This isn't just about making it simpler, there's some clever thinking behind it. If something goes wrong, you don't need to take as many components offline to fix it. The cooling system is where things get really interesting. The old version was a maze of cables, but with Trainium 2, they've switched to using printed circuit boards to handle most of the electrical signals. But here's the truly fascinating part. They're already planning for the future, as the article mentions they've got. These 4 pairs of pipes are suspended from the ceiling in their labs. They're currently sealed off, but they're preparing for future chips that will generate so much heat, regular fans just won't be sufficient anymore.